For the past 2 years, I have called for his dismissal on umpteen occasion. Those of you in this community will know, though, that after the South Africa series, I have implemented a stay of execution. Bravely this morning, Shane Deitz, the women coach for the West Indies senior team, have decided to join us on the Cricket Forum. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I really thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate your company, and I look forward to your interaction. Mr. Dees have agreed to take questions from those in the live chat. Questions. Good morning, gentlemen. Again, I have also Basil Butcher along with Shane Dees. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me, Mr. Brown. And good day, Basil.
Good morning,
Mr. Brown, because I'm a bit nervous at the moment, mate.
I'm
on edge.
Good morning, Shane.
Yeah.
A great opportunity for and good morning to your listeners and viewers, Carlton. This is a great opportunity for us to engage the West Indies women's coach. I would say I have been a keen follower of women's cricket since I started coaching women back in 2008 in the United States, that because I had to see what the standards we had to ascend to. So I have been a very, very keen follower of the women's game, and I've coached the U.S. national team also. So yeah, I have a lot of views regarding West Indies women's cricket.
Thank you, Basil. And I want to say to you wonderful persons in the live chat, I already saw that you are talking about the West Indies male team performance. We'll get to that in the next hour.
Yes.
Please direct your comments now towards Shane Dees. It is here. You can now interact with him. And in the next hour or so, we'll come to the West Indies comment. Shane, do you agree with Vince Lombardi, the legendary coach of the Green Bay Packers, who said in 1969, winning is not everything, it is the only thing?
Well, it's definitely important. Let's put it that way. And, we go out to win, and that's what our job is as athletes. And winning's a lot more fun than losing, that's for sure. But obviously, every team wants to go out and win, so it's not as easy as said and done. So you got to be able to have your plans and structures and everything else that goes along with it, and to create a winning team and a winning environment. So, but definitely, mate, Australians, a bit like people in the Caribbean, we don't like losing. So we're only here to win, 100%. I hate losing, that's for sure.
So, Mr. D, so why is it that the women team is losing so many matches?
Yeah, great question. We're not going out to lose matches, but it's a period that we've got to go through to try to be the best. And at this time I took over, we're ranked around 6 in both formats. So it's not like we're the #1 team and we're losing. We're down ranked that position for a reason. It's because that's probably the standard of the team is at. And everyone knows that we've only got a couple of world-class players. Obviously, Haley carries the team a lot of the time, and everyone tells me that. And I do watch the same game as everyone else around the world, so I understand what's happening. But our job is to create a team that's going to be competitive. Is we're going to have 20 girls, who are world class, who can go out and be a player of the match in each game. That's what I keep saying. Everyone's goal is to be a player of the match. You're going to get to a standard where you can, play against Australia and smash a 60, smash an 80, take a 4. For that means you're becoming a world class player, playing franchise cricket. All those sort of things will show that we've got a good world-class team. It's going to win more games if we've got world-class players. It's as simple as that. So, to create world-class players takes a bit of time, and that's what we're trying to do. And, you see Chanel Henry's really stepped up over, the last 12 months. Kiana's played some really important innings. Ramrak's got some player of the match awards. So we're getting a few more players who really start to chip in and win games for the West Indies, and that's what we're going to do and get that depth across the team is going to give us more success on the field.
Over Basil, your turn.
My first question is this, because that's a good segue. one of the struggles I have seen with the West Indies women is when they return home, whether it's a regional tournament or playing for the West Indies, the support structure in their various territories is thin, to say the least. I'm being very, very complimentary in saying the word thin. And that, in my view, is one of the biggest issues why we're not producing the other players that can step up to become world-class players, because they go back home and when we see them again, they're not improving. They go to camps, we see them again, we don't see that kind of improvement, because where the work has to be done is in their territories. What do you say about that, Shane?
100% correct. And you know, I won't mention the territory, but one of the territories, the girls wanted to use the bowling machine. They had to go pay for it from their cricket association. That's not helpful, mate. That's not helpful. And it's also got to start at under 16 level. I know we're trying to implement a regional under 16 tournament, and that's where it's got to start from. So the under 19 tournament, I just watched it recently in Trinidad. The standard's not where if you watch an Australian under or an England under 19 tournament,
exactly.
It's way different. And that's the big thing. If our under 19s, and we talk about a lot in Cricket West Indies, the under 19s team is getting into semi-finals or competing against the real good teams, and then those players obviously are going to be able to flow into the senior team a lot better. But we're not even competing against those top nations at under 19s, and that's always going to be a guide. And as you say, if you go around the world, all the other big countries at regional level, they got a full-time head coach, a full-time assistant coach, a physio, strength and conditioning coach for 12 months of the year, and we don't have that. So that's a big area. The other thing I would also like to see, like a 6-month season of home and away cricket at regional level, playing week in, week out, not just a 5 T20 games, 5 50 over games, and that's the women's season done. But 100% right. And only now, which we might talk about a bit further, I actually don't get to see the players who really work on their games, because we have a tour of them. We had a month or so off, and everyone goes home and they try to do some work in their regions. But I only see the players pretty much on tour or 2 weeks before we go on the tour for a mini camp, which really it's always about prep for that tour or prep for that World Cup, not really making change and implementing changes for technique and et cetera, et cetera. So, that's what we've got the next 6 months off. We're not in the ODI World Cup, which is disappointing, but the blessing in disguise is all the girls are going to come to Antigua for a long, extended period, and we can get some real work done to really target 2026, which is a real big year for us.
Right. Good morning, Christopher Bristol. Good morning, Sheldon Smith, Never Isaac, 48 Not Out, Stephen Roach, Sanjit. Good morning, the crew. I can't call everybody's name. Good morning, the crew. Shane, I want you to follow up on what you just said, because it sounds unbelievable to me, and I'm perturbed. You are saying that a member of the West Indies Cricket Board, who Cricket West Indies fund every month, is telling a senior woman cricketer that they need to pay for the bowling machine?
Yeah, that was in 2023. Yep. 100%.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
This is a question I want to ask, and then Basil will get a chance again. And I'm asking it 48 Not Out. So 48 Not Out is saying, Mr. Deitz, what are we doing to develop young women fast bowler? He's specific with the question, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, good. Because, I'll go into a little bit of detail on how I see the team and what traditionally West Indies are great at, and what we're trying to achieve is that every great West Indian team has a good fast bowler. So if we don't have quality fast bowlers, I don't think we're a West Indian team, and that's going to be an advantage that every West Indian team should have. So that's a key attribute of it. Last year we sent four girls to Tasmania to work specifically with our fast bowling coach, Damien Wright, who's based in Tasmania. He used to coach Hobart Hurricanes, was New Zealand men's bowling coach, IPL bowling coach, really world-class coach. So 4 girls went there to work with him over the summer and play a bit of cricket. And we'll hope to do a bit more of that moving forward. And I think one thing about fastball is also the strength and conditioning side of it needs to improve. You can't just turn up and bowl fast at world-class level without getting injured consistently well. So that's an area we need to work on as well. And that's one thing we're trying to do. But also I think number one thing also at regional level, if you watch a bit of cricket, our fast bowlers or all bowlers in general can get away bowling bad balls because our batters aren't taking them down. And I know Claxton played the first tour to England, and I asked her, what's the number one thing that you notice about this level or what you've played at regional level, under 19 level? Because every time I bowled a bad ball, by a couple of inches, it went for 4. And that's a learning experience. So we're pretty much learning these players while we're trying to play international cricket. So they're learning on the job, which is real tough for them, particular because that goes for a lot of negativity, getting smashed all around. We just got to keep building them up and showing them that it's a long-term thing for you. Yes, you're playing against some of the best batters in the world, and you're learning to bowl fast, and it's going to be difficult. You're going to have some down periods, but hopefully those times where she does get hit, for her, Claxton, for example, has a bad day, that is her great learning opportunity. And then she bounced back and bowled really well in that South African series. So that's how we're trying to do it. But we've identified a bunch of fast bowlers that we want to groom to be world-class bowlers. So that's definitely one thing we're really concentrating on. And we're lacking to at the moment, I think.
Basil?
Yes. Shane, you coming out of the Australian cricket system. And I had the opportunity to do Cricket Australia's level 3 course. And that was the first time I heard the term cricket athlete, talking about the cricketer as an athlete, which was very refreshing for me because that encompasses an elite athlete development system around the cricket athletes. Would you not say that is one of the key areas where we are lacking here in the Caribbean in terms of developing our play? We don't have that infrastructure for developing the athlete holistically here in the Caribbean.
Yeah, 100%. 100% correct, yes. You got to, and the rigors of international cricket now for the women, we're playing a lot all year round. So the strength and conditioning aspect of it and being an athlete is really important, and having structures around that as well. We've had Deandra injured, we've had Henry injured, Haley injured. So those girls play pretty much 12 months a year. So, hey, if our young girls finally got some franchise opportunities, etc., they're not going to be able to handle those rigors of it because even the elite, really fit, strong ones are struggling with it. So it's something that's got to start at a younger age and consistently over a long period of time. If you're not consistent with it, it's never going to take. So that's really important aspect of it all, and has to be 12 months a year, and having structures in each region to support the players, be able to do that and educate them to understand that it's important. And just quickly, one more thing, as I talk about the old West Indies teams and who I used to love, what their number one thing as you watched as a kid growing up was the athleticism of the West Indies team compared to the other teams. And that's what I'm trying to bring back. If we're going to be a great West Indies team, we've got to beat ball, as all West Indies players did, bowl fast and field, be athletic in the field, and use those natural competitive advantages we have against, the likes of maybe Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc., etc. So we're going to make sure we maximize our natural benefits that we've got to make sure that transforms to the cricket field, which will make up for some other things that we might be lacking in.
Yeah, can I just follow up quickly, Carlton, in terms
no problem, because I wanted to follow up on it too. Go ahead.
Yeah, the fielding, because one of the things I always say, there's one thing anybody could be world class at is fielding. It doesn't take talent like batting or bowling, and that's where, as you said, the conditioning, the putting in that work to field and so on. And it's often disappointing when I see the West Indian women who, to me, lots of them are more athletic than their counterparts, primarily because of a lack of conditioning.
Yeah, and also I think it's the pressure of an international game and being under pressure every ball, and they hit the ball a lot harder, so the ball's coming out to you a lot more. And the girls obviously don't play a lot of pressurized cricket, so the pressure situation and the mental side of that fielding is also really important. I just keep telling them, attack the ball. If you make a mistake, no problem. I'd rather you attack it and make a mistake and try and go for the catch than be safe, because safe is not going to win us any game of cricket, batting, bowling, or fielding. We're going to be aggressive. You go on the front foot, which sometimes you make mistakes, but we're really, as a senior management group, encouraging that, and make mistakes, okay. Because the next one, if you keep being positive, you're going to make less mistakes over a period of time as well. So there's also the mental side, not just the physical side of our fielding.
Agreed.
Shane, you and Basil spoke about the lack of infrastructure in the West Indies. It is not up to par with Australia, India, England. But there are a number of teams that our infrastructure is better than theirs. And as the head coach, shouldn't you be innovative? And if you do not see the help in cricket, shouldn't you be looking the help elsewhere? For example, everyone knows that Jamaica has an outstanding track and field program. That means there must be some infrastructure around that track and field program. Is cricket so exclusive that it will not reach out to another sporting entity that can lend it some necessary skills?
Yeah, I think you should. I agree with you. And my job to worry about the structures of cricket in the West Indies and what's going on in each territory. It's pretty difficult for me to do that. I can give my opinion of what works around the world. But what we can't do is use it as an excuse. At the meantime, we've got what we've got to deal with, so we've got to make the most of it and make sure, think of other ways of creating an advantage and getting our players to world-class level. So, yes, it is what it is at the moment. We're going to always try to improve things, but that's really a long-term thing. It's going to take time. So, I won't get that much time, Already people are asking for my sacking after a year and a half. So I can't think too long-term. I was going to make sure I win at the moment and make sure our players are the best they can be. But, but also I've worked in various places, Bangladesh, a place called Vanuatu, which most of the people never heard of before. And we just had basically one net. And our team went right up the rankings to the mid-20s because you got what you got. You got to make do, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. But we definitely got to always try to improve everything on and off the field with the team and the players, and that's what we're trying to do. Think of new ways to do things better. What we did do, go to Dubai a lot last year because the facilities there are really good. We had a great chance to train and improve skills there. So I'm trying to find out different ways that we can do things, and obviously things cost money, so you got that to think about as well.
Just a minute.
Back to other sports. Yeah, other sports are really important. As a coach, Pep Guardiola is the best coach in the world, football. So I listen to him talk a lot and try to learn off all types of coaches. And now the Australians spent a bit of time in America, different sports and things like that. And that's what we've got to do. You've always got to be ready to learn, take criticism, look at other things, how we can get better, and take it all on board, and then do the best job we can.
I must say, Shane, I almost kick you out of the studio for that comment about the Manchester City coach. However, you have said that I have called for your firing. And one of the things that I really appreciate about you this morning is that you are mature enough to be here. But don't you realize that you have to earn your status? You have to earn the time. The time is not just given to you, and you have to earn that time by winning matches. And according to Stephen Roach in the comment, he's saying, what are you putting in place? What plan do you have in place? Concrete plan, something that all 6 teams in the region can follow leading up to the West Indies team. What have you put in place for that?
Yeah, well, that's important that all the teams and our team are on the same page. So we've had some meetings at the regional 50-over competition with all the coaches and a lot of the players and the academy players about my vision for the team, how we want to play cricket, what I think is going to be successful for West Indies players to follow. And all those coaches all got together and we had a good meeting about it all. And Cricket West Indies have put in pathway coaches in each place that report to our women's department and myself So everyone's on the same page, coaching the same methods. But, everyone's got their own ideas about coaching, but the outcomes are, these are the outcomes that's going to be successful for us as a team. And we've got to start implementing them all over the region, so we're on the same
So
page.
basically, Shane, you do not have a plan for yourself. Sorry to interrupt you, but it doesn't come across to me that you have put in place a plan for yourself, that this is what you want. After all, you are the women head coach. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I had to get that in because to what you are answering, I don't see you saying this is my plan. You are saying this is West Indies' plan.
I said my plans for how we think we're going to win and how I want players to play, that's been implemented to the coaches from me. So yes, I do have a plan, and we can talk more about that if you like. But the big thing about that plan's going to really start taking shape now, because I've got 3 or 4 months of the players coming to Antigua, and we're going to be able to start changing the way we train, play, etc., and do all those things that we want to do, which takes time. But yes, I've definitely got a plan and a vision, and I've expressed it to the board, expressed it to all the coaches, all the players around the region. They all understand what I want to do and how I think West Indies cricket's going to be successful in the women's game.
I'm not ignoring you, Basil, but Shane, could you take a few minutes, and you said you have your plan and you will tell us if I want you to. Take 2-3 minutes or even 5 minutes and tell us the basic, the summary of that plan.
Well, the summary, I'd love to. So our first tour was to Australia, and that was a good chance to play against the world's best, because they're benchmark of women's cricket. So that first tour was really so I just didn't know any players, etc. Just observe the players, observe the team, how we go about things on and off the field, and then match up to Australia. So after that tour, I was able to see that's where they're at, and this is where we're at, and these are the areas we've got to improve on. Off the field in particular was one real eye-opening. When we had a team meeting, I asked questions and want everyone to talk, and no one was talking at all. I was just waiting for the coach to talk, and then if I asked a question, everyone just looked at Hayley, and she spoke. So, I'm really about player taking responsibility for their games and for the team. So now our team meetings, we're in small groups, and the groups can talk, and then they present their aspects of the team play, KPIs, or what we're trying to do that tour, and then everyone can question it and comment about it, and we have a big open discussion with all the girls talking, which that's a big improvement. That's a step forward in our mental side of the game. But how we're going to play is the number one thing, of course, and it's probably been misrepresented that I'm teaching all the batters to slog 4s and 6s and not bat properly. Well, that's sort of incorrect. But what you've got to do is in T20 cricket particularly, you got to hit boundaries, be able to hit boundaries. And we as a team, we were averaging 12 from 2020 to 2023. We were averaging 12 boundaries in a T20 game and an average score of 114. Where Australia, we're 148 average score with 20 boundaries. So if you put us to 20 boundaries, we're actually even with them. So it's not about the singles or running or all those little things. It's about hitting more boundaries, particularly in T20 cricket. And we're trying to teach, Chanel Henry, 6 foot, strong, to play nice, correct drives. No, she's got to be able to have a license to hit the ball, take on the boundary riders, and hit more boundaries. Once you do that, the field does spread more. And I brought in like Kiana to open the batting, to take the attack to the opposition. And once the field's spread, then you get more singles, then you get more higher scores, etc. And at the T20 World Cup, we hit more sixes than any other team, nearly triple more sixes than any other team and more boundaries. We got to the semi-finals, and we really should have won that semi-final. I reckon won the World Cup, so that was disappointing. But we made a major change in the way we've set up our cricket and how we train and hit boundaries. So that's one big thing we've been working on for T20 cricket. Obviously, ODI cricket is a few other different things we're working on. But the main things is we've got to be dynamic with the bat, put the bowlers under pressure, not looking to survive. In the field, we've always spoken about be athlete, be a West Indian fielding team. We've got to be the best fielders in the world, the fastest runners, the most agile, all those things, which takes time. And then with the ball, quality fast bowlers, which we want to be able to attack with the new ball against teams. And we're still working on that because we had to open the bowling with Zeta James in England when it was swinging a little bit, bowling, little left-arm swingers with a few spinners involved. So that's the structure of the team and how a vision of what makes a great West Indian team. And we're going along those lines. So that's a short summary of it all. It's obviously more depth about how we train, et cetera, and the players understanding it all. But it all goes down together as a way we want to play. This is how it would look. The thing it will be judged us on, when you see the West Indies women's team play, you'll identify what they're trying to do and see what they're trying to do. And that's when you'll see how things are transpiring and what I'm doing is starting to work, which obviously takes time. But we've scored over 200 in a couple of T20 games already. We're scoring 160, 180 most of the time now, we're getting up towards that. So I think from the average of 114 in 2023 to what we're doing now, I think there's been a lot of improvement already in that T20 cricket. ODI cricket has got a lot of work to do, and obviously we've got a test match next year too. So we're going to identify a couple of those things over the next 6 months and improve in those areas too.
Basil?
Yes. It's interesting you mentioned about the team meetings because I often work with some women players in the region at the regional level, and one of them I said to her, we're gonna go over your tournament. So look at the clips now. This good, you got all the games streamed, and I want you to give me your evaluation of your performance, and then I'll chime in. So as we're doing this exercise, I mentioned to her, I'm watching you bowl a specific batter. Was that a tactic that you devised the team in the team meetings? And her response to me is like, no, coach, we don't have those type of meetings. I was like, what? I said, well, was it the captain? She said, no, coach. No, because I've been to West Indies camp and I know how this girl bats. So I employed it. And I said to her, I know I feel sorry for you guys. Now I understand now why you guys are not improving, because here at a regional tournament, which is supposed to be the level below international, you're not having tactical discussions, meetings, right? For upcoming games, etc. How are you going to progress? So I just wanted to mention that to you, that that again, the lack of support for the women at the next level. But the question I wanted to add to this is there oversight in terms of actually seeing what these pathway coaches are doing in the respective territories? Because you could be the pathway coach and you're coaching these women, but we're not seeing, so we don't know if you're being effective or not. Is anything like that in place?
Clinton Hill is employed from Barbados, and he's overseeing them, and I'm working with him closely. And so we have got those structures in place now. It's only just beginning now.
Okay.
All those coaches came in April or March, I forget now, and we had a good camp with all the academy players, and that was excellent. And they were brilliant. They're all on the same page. So that's going to take time. And they're working with all those players now. So that's real good. Mm-hmm. I offer the KPIs to how we structure our T20s and ODI cricket. And I know Marissa at Trinidad and Ramrak, the captain of Trinidad, implemented similar things for them, and they obviously won the 50-over competition. So it's really important. And you're right, like everyone's expecting the coach to just tell everyone what to do, but it doesn't work like that.
No.
I obviously know things, and people watch cricket and commentators. And obviously, Mr. Brown, you guys, we all see the same game. We know what's going on. But to implement that is the challenge. And the players, you can tell them all the thing, but on the field, they're going to think for themselves. So I'm trying to get them to think for themselves all the time and encourage them. And when they don't make the right decisions on the field, it's also that's your responsibility. Why didn't you change it? If you're going to bowl a slow ball, change your field. Well, I always wait for the captain. No, it's your responsibility. You're going to change. Tell Haley, and you'll control the game. And these are your responsibilities you got to do. You can't just run it by wait for the captain and the coach to do everything. Everyone's got to lead themselves. They understand their own game, understand their plans, understand the training, and manage yourself and control yourself. Take responsibility for every action you do on and off the field, and that's what we're trying to implement. Because if I talk all the time in the meetings, no one's learning. When they're talking to me, they're learning. So that's what we're trying to get those meetings. If I don't talk during a meeting, I think it's a great meeting. They're probably happy too.
Exactly.
After time.
Shane, Sanjit Sakar is asking, why is it the girls playing more 2-day and 3-day cricket leading up to the test match that we should have in the near future? And what specific work are you doing on helping the girls to play spin?
First, I'll start with the test match. If you look at the countries who play a lot of test cricket, they don't do any other red ball cricket besides some things that can't.
Exactly.
Camps, really. And I want to get more 50 over and T20 cricket and to add things at regional level for 2-day or 3-day cricket. There's just not enough money or resources. And the test matches are important, but women's cricket is white ball cricket dominant in the World Cup. So you can't take away from a pot of money that we don't have enough to work on those areas to give it to an area which is probably not going to, shouldn't be the focus. But what we are doing, we've got a good period of time now, and in December we'll be doing a red ball camp, and we'll look at playing against like under 15, under 16 West Indian boys team or a group of boys around that age and play some 2-day cricket and 4-day cricket or test match against them, and obviously do that before the test match next year. So we're implementing a bit of that for that. And the other question, what was the other part? Sorry,
spin bowling. What is your plan to teach the girls to play spin bowling?
All right, how long have we got here to talk about this?
Take as much time as you want.
My wife won't be too happy, but anyway. So here's one thing, and you guys have been around the Caribbean a lot more than that. Sweep shots. Is it encouraged by Caribbean coaches or not?
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not. Yeah. And one of the girls got a great sweep shot, and I said, why don't you bring it out? She says, well, if I get out playing it, I'll get in trouble. And I was talking to a young lad. I'm not going to mention names. He plays for Lee Woods. He's played a bit for West Indies. And he said, we were talking about, because he was at training here in Antigua on Friday, and we were talking about sweep shots. And he said, I played with an under-19s game for Lee Woods, and I got out. The coach yelled at me. I didn't play a sweep shot for 5 years. So, we just played England. They did reverse sweeps and laps. They scored nearly 60 runs in that series off that shot alone. We played it 3 times for 1 run. And they played 20 plus times, nearly 30 sweep shots over the reverse. This is only reverse sweeps and reverse laps. Over that time, got 60 runs. And particularly in T20 cricket or white ball cricket, or all cricket now, if you watch baseball, those shots just got to be one as good as your cover drive, and you got to practice it.
Yes.
And that's something that no one, it's particularly like if the field's set straight for trying to hit boundaries at the end of the innings, which I tell a couple of girls who want to be finishers, well, you've got to be able to hit one over the wicket keeper first and get a fielder there, which is going to create a bigger space in front of you. So that's something we've got to encourage. And, you're going to have, like the fielder I talked about before, you're going to make mistakes, but you've got to encourage it and learn and get better at it. So it was great to see young Claxton in the 20-over competition. She had a reverse hit for 6 off Muhammad, who's one of the best bowlers in the world for West Indies cricket spinners. So it's getting there, and we're encouraging it, and we're training it a lot. But playing spin, particularly, you got to sweep and you got to chip down the wicket. And we don't do either of those enough. You got to get out to the ball or back to the ball. Yeah. And so I'll just finish with this. So in women's cricket, we've only got 4 fielders outside the ring. So all the time, you got long on and like cow are definitely out. So there's 2. So then you've only got 2 more out. It's usually 1 behind square on the leg side. That means mid-off or the cover sweeper is up. So the 3 shots you really got to be really good at in women's cricket is if a cover sweeper is up, like Haley, back away off your stumps and you hit it over off the back foot, over cover or through point.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that fielder goes up, mid-off will come up. And then you go chip down, hit that same ball over mid-off.
Mm-hmm.
Haley does her two favourite shots. And if mid-off goes back, the leg side for the sweep shot usually comes up. So these are the general ones. And then you've got to be able to sweep. And if you watch the 100 Haley made against Australia in 2023, she only played those 3 shots the whole game. And when they brought the sweep up, she swept them. When they brought deep cover up, she hit it over there. When they brought mid-off up, she hit it over mid-off. And basically, we're setting up our training. You've got to master those 3 shots against spin. Because the other ones are pretty much blocked all the time. Unless Henry or whatever could try to hit over their heads. That's a go-to as well. But they're the 3 shots. To play spin in women's game, you've got to master those 3. And that's how we set up our training to hit those 3 shots. So all the girls know. Over mid-off, off, cut back, cut off the stumps, or hit over there, and then go across and sweep leg side. Get those shots, because one of those 4 options is always there.
Basil, your question coming up, but I just want to make a statement to say that, Shane, I hope that after this duration that the team is going to spend at the academy, that would see these things coming out more clearly. Now that you have said it to us, we'll be looking forward to it. We are fully aware of how Ailey Matthews play. We know that. And so if we can have more ladies playing in that way. So we are going to hold you to these things, and we are going to invite you back here. Well, over to you, Basil.
Yeah, I will just one quick comment, then I'll ask you a question about a specific player in a general context. Yes, I have often said that the women of India, Australia, England, South Africa are better sweepers than the West Indies men international players. I just want to make that point. They're better sweepers, period. So what you're talking about is an endemic to our cricket across the board. I just want to ask you, there's this young leg spinner from Guyana, Lachman. She has she's ticked off some of the boxes in terms of her ability. This is what I was most impressed with her, seeing her early on. That a youngster like this could put most of her leg spin balls in the right area. She doesn't have a googly yet. And 2 other areas, she got to improve her fielding and her conditioning. How are you bringing along this youngster? Because of all the other leg spinners, she has the most upside I've seen in terms of the youngsters coming up behind Fletcher. How are you guys? Because we know leg spin is a very serious art skill to develop. And when you find a youngster that has that potential, you want to put in that work that you can get the most, that player can get to the highest level. What are the things are you doing for, say, a player like her? I'm just using her as an example.
Basil, I'll go a little further. Just a minute, Shane. I'll go a little further with that question, because I was going to ask Shane about Nia Lachman too, but my question was sharper and right to the point. Why is it that Nia Lachman is not in the West Indies squad?
Wait, I haven't picked her yet. So that's really
why haven't you picked her?
Yeah, because Africa's ranked number 10 in the world at the moment. Basil is correct. There's all aspects of the game that you got to be good at. You got to be able to field. You can carry probably one batter. It's not smoking the ball, but I want all 11 batters to be able to contribute, and then we can attack all the way through the lineup. So that's the other thing we're working on. But Lachman's great. I've had a few tours and camps with her. I took her on an A tour to Pakistan when I first started the job, and she was quite inconsistent there. So she's improved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Her nickname is VVS Lachman. Legend. She's a really good girl too. We have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, her fielding, athleticism, all those things, and consistency is there. Consistency needs to improve, but it's getting there. But it's really tough to judge against our regional cricket, because the batters that she's bowling against, no one's really sweeping her or taking her on yet. So that's tough. But the girls are going, the academy girls, she's involved, they're going to India in a couple of weeks for a tour and bat against spin with some Indian spin, batting against spin coach. So she'll be on that, and that's another chance to see her against some better opposition. And in the camps, and what you don't see is a lot of the selection is sort of based around what happens at a camp, because that's when we get the best 22 players to play against each other.
Yeah.
And she's done okay at the camps. And that's probably where we do a lot of our selection from, because even with men's cricket around the world now, it's not too often, particularly like a test match, you can pick a guy or girl from first-class cricket and they're going to go straight into international cricket, because the gap's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Mm-hmm.
Those A tours, T20 has franchise cricket, which sort of bridges that gap a bit because you've got international players, etc., involved.
Mm-hmm.
But for longer formats, it's more difficult to pick straight from a regional setup into international cricket. Right. But Latchy, she's close, definitely close.
Mm-hmm.
Affy's going really good, and she offers a lot with experience, etc., etc. But there's no reason why I can't have two-leg spinners. I want the best spinners in the team. But with our spinners, Ramarak, Haley has done a really good job. Zayda does the job she's got. Kiana's over her shoulder injury. She'll start bowling again soon. So the spin bowling department's been pretty good. So there hasn't really been an opportunity for her yet. But she must be only 21 still. She gave a lot of opportunities, definitely. And the more cricket we get for her and more chance at CPL, that she gets more games there, will be a great thing as well. So she's definitely on the radar. She's definitely in the conversations as well. So, but there's a lot of good spinners around. Sugru from Trinidad, really good. Few other under-19 girls. I like Brianna. Sorry?
Would you like to talk about Fafana Millington from Guyana?
Millington.
Yeah. She opens the bowling spin. But again, what I also look at, the pitch maps, etc., where the ball's landing, how consistent they are. Yeah. And as I said, they're getting away with bad balls at regional level too much. If you bowled that in international cricket, you'd get killed. So, but now as you play more international cricket, you also get better. So that's our job to do that. But I say, Haley and Ramarak have been, Ramarak's ranked 13 in the world or 14 in the world now. Haley was ranked 12 or 13, and Affy ranked 10. So we've got our three spinners in the top 20. So spin's not an issue at the moment. But opportunities will come over time. Obviously, Fletcher's not getting any younger, so but she's still going real strong at the moment.
I think she's bowling.
But that's why, coming to you, Basil, just a minute. That's why I think, Shane, that instead of having Ashmini Munisar as a third spinner, I think that for Fafana Millington, it's unfortunate she came at a time when you have Ailey Matthews, who's definitely a world-class all-rounder. Charisma Ramarak, you would have heard I said many times that she's the best off-spinner in the world. I firmly believe so. And I'm wondering, why do we have Munisar as a third off-spinner instead of having Latchman as an understudy to Fletcher?
Yeah. Good question, good observation. Munisar bowls quite flat and faster, and a lot of international teams chip down the wicket a lot. She's really hard to chip down the wicket to. So she can bowl really tight. In Pakistan, in the World Cup qualifier, she was their best spinner in the games that she played. She's hard to hit, and she can tie batters down. And her batting's coming along really good, so I see her as a potential top order batter at one stage as well. And she's actually, look, if you look at future leaders on and off the field, she's definitely one of them as well. So, yeah, it's a shame that she's an off-spinner not getting any opportunity. But you're right. We look at the mix and match of the team. And just Munisar's probably at the camps, etc., just bowl better than the others too. So that's why she's probably got a step ahead at the moment at them. But she's definitely under pressure to keep her spot, as are others. And yeah, she knows that, and she's actually here in Antigua now working on her batting in particular. But there's definitely under pressure, and we're always, we need 20 good international players to be a good team anyway, so we can mix and match depending on where we're going, etc. But they're fair criticisms and observations, and but those, I think Sugrim too, left arm spinner for Trinidad, is close. I think there's a few really, really close spin-wise.
Basil?
I would say, Carlton, I would not agree regarding Ramram. The Australians have a young lady there, is clearly the best off spinner to me.
No,
Actually got
Basil, you don't understand the class of Ramarat, but we'll get into that another time. Ask Shane his question.
Yeah. No, I just want to say this again.
Throwing something at a phone at the moment. If you're saying Ramirez is the best off spinner in the world, not Haley, should be losing.
Yeah, I mean, Haley's the best off spin on the team. Anyway,
I'll say nothing.
Yes.
They're all great.
The other thing I would like to ask you, because I've heard you say this, and what are you guys going to be, are you emphasizing more about the conditioning? Because we see this at the regional level and obviously at our international teams. And I would argue that many times we have lost games because our conditioning was not optimum.
Yep, 100% agree. 100% agree. Well, we didn't have a full-time strength and conditioning coach until now. They were only part-time. So it makes it quite difficult to get everyone up to speed. So we've got Hector, who was involved with the team when they won the World Cup 2016. He's now a full-time strength and conditioning coach, and he's not letting the ladies sleep at the moment. He's ringing them every day, all over the world on their case, and because it's an area we've got to be good at. There's no excuse not to be fit and strong. But also, I think also if in the part, people can relax if they know they're safe in the team as well, and you can't push them. So my job was also to get competition for places. So everyone's got to be at their best all year round, all the time, knowing that someone's behind them ready to take their spot. And that's something that lifts the whole standard of all your training, every aspect of your game. If you know someone's ready to, get on your case and take your spot. So that's something that goes hand in hand with it. And, girls, if you're watching, and I tell them, this is what we're trying to do. 20 good players for competition for your spot and make someone coming to get you. And everyone's coming to get you, ladies, so make sure you keep doing your work. And at the moment, they're complying every day to the messages. A few of the girls will say here in Antigua now, they do running at 5:30 in the morning. Then they've got gym at 8:30, and then we're training at 1 o'clock in the afternoon skills. So they're going better. And this time next year, or at the end of this year, you'll definitely see massive change in that department.
But I'm happy to hear that.
Carlton, can I
go ahead
quickly? Stephanie Taylor. I mean, I will argue, that she is the greatest West Indian woman cricketer we've had to date. All due respect to Matthews. But in the last 3 years or so, because of various injuries and so on, she has not been the player we know she to be. And why is it taking that? What is the issues that she's dealing with, that why she cannot, to return at least close to full fitness?
Yeah, very hard for her. She obviously takes it hard too, because she just gets new injuries all the time at the moment. Which she had a knee issue, which she sorted, and then we're playing a practice game in England. It was about 8 degrees, freezing. She went for a run and tweaked her hamstring, and then she dived the ball, hurt her shoulder. It's like just a run of bad luck at the moment. But now we've got to be a period off. She can, I said to her, you get the body right, and we're going to manage her as best we can. And let's hope a bit of time off and a lot of work on different areas, we can get her body up to speed. And we might be looking at manage her from tour to tour, maybe having a rest if need be. But yeah, injuries for her. I haven't had a game of cricket where Steph, Deandra, Henry, Haley, probably our big four, are all fit, firing at 100%. Definitely not have one game where everyone's been on the park together and fit, ready to go. So that makes it real tough if you take your 4 best players. If I took, Siva Brunt and Bell and Eccleston and someone else out of England, so there's no way they'd be, as good as they were, or competing against the best teams. But that's been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it's given other girls opportunities. So we're developing more players. So when we get them all together, it's going to be a real good team. And then a really fit Kiana Joseph at the top of the order will help. But Steph's her body, she knows it. Her body, it's struggled a bit. And she had one major injury, and I think just getting over that and then being on the road a lot, it's just a bit of bad luck as well. So hopefully 2026 is a more luckier year for her, and she can play a lot more cricket for us, because we definitely want her in there.
2 questions from the community, because the community feedback is very important. You would have seen the first one from Sheldon Smith. Does the coach thinks that he have done enough to keep his job? Those are the direct words from Sheldon. And then Mr. Casanova is saying, he sounds like a good politician, always deflecting and not answering serious questions.
Oh, Lord. You got a tough crew there, Carlton.
Hi, Mr. Casanova. I thought it was pretty straight to the point. I've got nothing to hide about my job. Look, that's out of my hands. I can't control that. I just want to make players better. I don't even think about, whether I'm keeping my job or not, because I know what I can do, what I'm trying to do for the players. And if we have success, well, keep your job. If you don't, well, it's like an umpire's decision. You've got to take it. But I'm passionate about working for West Indies, and I love the girls and the team. We're having, the harder we work, the better we'll get, and we're getting together a lot more now for a period where I can actually do some work with them and change some things. So hopefully that will be beneficial for us all. But, I can only do the best I can do and live, sleep, and breathe this team day in, day out, every day, and we're trying to get better. I think our results are pretty good. It's the first series win against South Africa for a long time. We beat England first time we beat England in a match for 9 years at that World Cup. So I think there's a few things that have changed. You just got to be patient and trust that, the team has worked, the players are really motivated, the staff are motivated. And I say by the end of next year, 2026 is a big year. We'll know whether what I'm saying is working or I'm just a politician. Time will tell.
Okay, thanks. So, because Stephen Rossua just asked how much time, so we have until 2026. But you agree, Shane, that you have to earn that time. We are not just going to give you 18 months with the team regressing. We need to see those incremental improvement. Do you agree, sir?
Yeah. Is the team regressing or not? Who says this? I think we're getting better.
So, no, I said that we need to see those incremental improvement. No, Shane, you must remember, that why I've ordered stay of execution is because I saw that incremental improvement. Mm-hmm. So I have seen it, but I'm saying that incremental improvement has to continue, and we are holding you to it.
Yeah, but job. If you don't hold me to it, then it's a waste of time. But I think in the England series we had 5 players 21 and under in a few of those games. So that we're starting to bring some new players in, and as we talk about the selection with the selectors, they're saying other teams like Australia and England bringing in 19, 18-year-olds and India as well, and they're straight away making an impact at international cricket. And I'm like, but those girls are dominating their under-19 World Cup. We're not even getting to that stage yet. So these young players, we're implementing them in our national team, but they're not going to be ready to make a huge impact straight away. So that's part of the thing we're trying to do. And at the moment, like that tour to England, we didn't win a game, but those players learned so much, and they're so much better for it. And then we went and we saw those improvements against South Africa. And those young players, Glasgow did really well, Claxton did really well, and they had some massive influence in the match, just not making up the numbers. So I think that's judge the players individually if they're getting better. Obviously, the collective will also. But, I think most players, I would say 90% of the players have improved over the last few years. A lot of new faces in there who, we're going to have some, if you're sort of a rebuild, you're going to lose some matches. But that's part of the course, I think. But 2026 is a big year. We've got 15 ODI matches which go towards the qualification for the next World Cup. We've got a test match and a T20 World Cup. So 2026 is a brilliant year, challenging year, but the girls know that. We spoke about it at the end of the last tour, that what we do over the next 6 months from now to Christmas will determine how successful we are next year. And that's a great time. All the girls are going to be coming here and we're all going to be working hard. And then I think you'll see what you're looking for next year. If it doesn't happen, well, get someone else in who can do a better job, that's for sure.
Especially with really Anna Grimman. She has a very high ceiling, but there are some technical issues to sort out. I would have mentioned them a number of times, and I'm looking forward to see how those technical issues are being sorted out. But another question from the chat is, why is the constant shuffling of Zayda James in the batting order? And after this answer, Basil, you can ask your question.
Yeah. Well, we see her as a top order player, but obviously she wasn't ready. So basically, she was trying to learn to be a cricketer, and her role at the first starter team was probably going to bat 8 or 9, bowl a few overs, feel comfortable because she's a special talent. Feel comfortable at this level, then more opportunities will happen. So I said, just go out and be 29 out every time you get an opportunity to bat, or 39 out, or whatever the case may be. And then when an opportunity opens up higher, she'll be the first one to get that opportunity. And every time she's gone up, she's done it okay, but not good enough. So she's had to sort of come back down the order again. She hasn't probably taken her opportunities at the top of the order, so she's had to probably come back down again. We also like the left-hand, right-hand combination up the top of the order. So if Kiana gets out, sort of Zayda will go in at 3, particularly in T20 cricket, to keep the left-right combinations going. And then, so that's probably why she's being shuffled around a little bit. But, if she's taken opportunities, she would have she would have been more consistent at the top of the order. But that's something she's learning. She's 21 years old still and been around a little bit. But also, I think, I spoke to her, she needs to make some big scores at regional level too, which she hasn't done enough of. She should be making 50s and 100s at all those games, or dominating games with the bat. So she hasn't done that yet either. But, she's got the ability. But, we're just trying to find her spot in the team, so to speak. But because she offers a lot bat ball and in the field. So,
Yes, Basil, you may go ahead.
She's got to nail the spot down.
So, go ahead with your question, Basil. Although I don't think Zayda James have done nothing to be anywhere near the squad, but go ahead, Basil.
Yeah, I say the same thoughts regarding James, but I would like to say another question. One of the disappointing things about the players, all the players on the West Indies team, is when they come and play in the regional tournament, they don't dominate. That's something I am very disappointed with. Particularly that one Miss Campbell from Guyana. She is supposed to be one of the most experienced players, and she comes into the regional tournament at that substandard level and never dominates. And I would like to understand, because the mindset should be, when you come down, you stamp your authority at that level. I mean, also, it's similarly, young Claxton just coming off of international plays in this under-19 regional tournament and did not dominate, right? She's supposed to wipe the floor with all of these women. So I think I'm wondering, are you translating to these women that mindset that when you come and play at that next lower level, that you have to be ruthless and stamp your authority? You can't be playing at the same level as these other players are playing. And one other thing I want to add, another player I'll be looking at is to see if she does improve, is Glasgow. Because for me, her on-site play is almost negligible, right? So I would like, that's somebody I'll also be looking at.
As I say to everyone, what your eyes are seeing, my eyes are definitely seeing too.
All right.
And you can keep telling them those things, but they've got to do it themselves. And particularly if you're a fringe player like Zayda, example, or maybe Mudasar or whatever, when you go back to those regional levels, or Gajnami as well, if you dominate, well then you keep the wolves at bay, so to speak. Your performances are getting you picked in the team always. It takes a bit of pressure off. I think for the batters, some of the pitches that they play at those regional tournaments are not the best, to be honest.
I'll agree.
It probably doesn't help the batters that much, but they've got to be able to adapt and still score and still dominate that tournament. I think Campbell had a good last year in St Kitts. She played really well in the 50 over games in particular, made some good scores. But yeah, she's got to be dominating, and that's for all those girls. They've got to make those big scores. But average score in the last regional T20 series was winning score. I think was 80.
Yes.
And the average winning score in the 50 over competition was 140. Batting first. So that's the issue. But some of the pitches that they're playing on, they play 5 games in about 7 or 8 days at that regional cricket as well. And play, rest. And the same pitches are getting used on various grounds. So they're far from where they need to be at that level. That's why I'd like to have like a home and away, where you fly to somewhere and play on a Saturday, a T20, and on the Sunday, 50 over game, whatever the case may be, and on a good pitches at good grounds. So that's definitely one thing. Yeah, Glasgow's here now in Antigua, working on that onside play. But don't tell everyone, because all the teams around the world still got everyone on the left side for it at the moment. So get quiet. Yeah, 100%.
I would agree with you, because I watched the game yesterday with the U.S. under 19s against ours, and that pitch is an abomination. For us to have our youngsters, I mean, the pitch was turning square from ball one. How are they going to develop on pitches like that? That's why the score was so pathetic, 60-something runs. We're unable to really give a true good assessment of where our players are when they're going to be playing in those conditions. And it's not just the women, but the men too. But it's more so with the women that they put them on the backyard to play, so to speak, rather than giving them the opportunity. Because I would have hoped this T20 series against USA, they would have been playing all these matches either at Brian Lara or the Queen's Park Oval, the international grounds where we can, that this is the next step, because they're international matches, not on the backyard UWI ground, which is a joke of a ground. We've seen it with the men, same thing, and now you put the women there.
Yeah. I'll say too much.
All right. I know you can't say too much.
Agreed.
Shane.
Well, I never get invited to Jamaica. They never asked me to go to Jamaica. I don't know what the wickets are like there.
Shane, we saw where recently, I don't know if you are aware, where 4 Jamaican athletes have switched allegiance to Turkey. In cricket, there are many examples. There are many examples of persons playing in other countries. Ben Stokes, the England captain, comes to mind. Conway, all of those guys, and more names will come to mind. Stephen Roach is asking whether you are looking to recruit women with West Indies legions from places like England and the USA. Have you ever looked into that?
Well, not me personally. So I'm mainly the short-term stuff. I'm trying to get these players better, but it's something that we've got to be open to and look around. And you got to take every opportunity if you can get a good player who's living somewhere else from the Caribbean. They'd be crazy not to look into that option, And Joff Archer's got stolen away to England from us. We're going to do the same to them, I think.
Yes.
That's I think you got to. It's just the way it is at the moment. International cricket. If you look at the level below the test playing nations and associate cricket, Italy just qualified for the World Cup. There's probably 5 Australians in there. Yeah. And so
Burns and Gay.
Cricket.
Yeah, Burns.
Yeah. Gay's another one. He's West Indian.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And there's a few other Aussies in that team who play first-class cricket and Big Bash in Australia as well. Yeah. So, and the Dutch team, there's 3 or 4 local Dutch players. The rest are passport holders from South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. So I think you're crazy not to. Mate, but there's only so many hours in the day that I can do at the moment, and pretty busy. Got a 3-year-old as well, so I've got much time on my hands to be researching everyone's ancestry.com. So hopefully some at West Indies cricket is though. If someone out there, if you've got West Indian heritage, shout out.
Shane, we want to thank you for being here. We have expired the hour and we want to keep to our plan and our pledge. I saw persons want to get you in trouble, Shane. They are asking to ask you so many questions about the male team, but I know we cannot go there. They want to get you in trouble. But your final comment, Shane.
Oh, I think it's just great that we're here talking about women's cricket and promoting the women's game, and a lot of people are interested in it. So that's great. And just know that we've got lots of things we're trying to implement. I think Miles and high performance team in the office are always thinking to try to do things different and improve things. Those structural things are going to take a long time to really to start being implemented and then see the benefits of it. I think the under-16 women's competition regional, hopefully that will get off the ground. And that means those girls are going to be in a high-performance program from the age of 13, 14. By the time they get down to 19 into the senior team, they're going to be much better than where they're at the moment. So that's really important. So everyone's got to be patient about that. But just know that the staff in the Cricket West Indies, we're really open and looking to try to improve things. And then from my perspective, the team, we've really committed to put on a good show for all our supporters and be patient. We're trying to get better every day until we're done. We've only had 2 home series since I've been the coach. It was South Africa and Bangladesh, and they were really good. So next year we've got a few home series. Hopefully we get a lot of local support and come out, and we'll try to put on a real good brand of cricket for everyone to follow. But just be patient that we're committed to our jobs, and we're trying to do the best cricket, play the best cricket for West Indies cricket, and hopefully less success. Well, what we're doing now, the success will come next year, and be patient with us and keep supporting us. And we're doing everything we can to make the people of the Caribbean West Indies cricket proud.
Yeah. We want to thank you very much for being here, Shane, but you know that patience, we don't have that. You know that time is not on your side. You know what is on yours. What is going to buy you time is the performance of the team. And hopefully in those home series next year, hopefully we'll see you in Jamaica even before then, so we can have a few red stripe and some jerk pork. But until then, Shane,
I would like to
wish you all the best. And go ahead, Basil.
I would like to talk to you offline because I don't want to do this in the public forum. Because of my background, what I do for a living in terms of rehab and enhancing athletes' performance, I think there's some ideas because these injuries that are cropping up all the time with these players, I'm thinking there are things that are being left out of the loop that could help these players to be to recover from these injuries and not have the reoccurrence. So I would love to talk to you offline regarding that.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Yeah, you got my email. Send it out, and we'll catch up and we'll discuss those things. That'd be great. And just thank you, Mr. Brown. It wasn't as hard. You weren't as hard on me as I thought you were going to be. So I'm a bit disappointed in you, actually.
Yeah.
And I would like to say to close before you leave, Shay, I must say that because myself and Carlton and others, we only outside, we're seeing the results. So we don't get to see what is going on behind the scenes and the efforts. And it was good for you to give some clarity as to the direction, the approach, and all the various things. So we now we now in a better position not to speculate, because now we have gotten some insight as to what is going on in terms of you're trying to develop these players and the direction you're going and so on. And now we have a more concrete platform on which we can make better judgments and to judge you, right? Without just
it appears that
working hard too.
It appears that Shane won you over, Basil, but as Mr. Casanova said, he's a politician, so he talks a good talk. You see, for me, Basil, it doesn't matter to me what drills the coach implement or what tactics or what strategy. It doesn't matter to me what he does on the plane, on the training ground. What I want is results, and I use the result to judge him. So Shane talk a good talk, but we need to see the result.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, because at the end of the day, if the coach can have the player go through all the preparation, turn every stone, and the player walk out and get a force ball, right? I remember the great Kumar Sangakkara saying this to us about batting I was in a high performance coaching seminar with him, and he said once he does all his preparation and he walks out there and he gets a duck, he doesn't feel bad, because the most important thing he said for him is his preparation. Because he says in cricket, from a batting perspective, there is the inevitability of getting out. You can get out the first ball, and your job is to get as many before that. So I can't blame the coach if the preparation is adequate.
Say one thing.
Basil, just comment here, Shane. Comment here, Basil. If the preparation is adequate, and by I mean at the intensity level, doing the right things, every cricketer will succeed enough times for persons not to be calling for their head. So the one ball ducks, everyone understand that. But if the preparation is right, they are going to succeed enough.
The skills got to be up there, though. The skills got to go up.
Yeah. Well, Basil is right, but my job is to make sure if Haley gets that first ball, I've got 8 other players that are not going to get a first ball and make hundreds, etc. And that's what we're working towards. And that's what we're going to get. Yeah, you can't just rely on 1 or 2 players, and that's probably been our problem. But to build a player, take a girl from St. Lucia or whatever at the age of 19 and go play against the best players in Australia, it takes time. And my job is to try to get them ready for that. And I can't control what happens out in the field, but that's all I can control. But the results, we're in a results business. If you don't win,
of course,
out you go, bring someone else who's going to come in. But, it's what you judge on, where if we're winning, getting more consistent is probably the number one thing. Beating teams regularly, that's probably another thing. I don't think we're ever going to, my tenure, we're never going to be like ranked number 1 in the world consistently with, 20 players playing franchise cricket around the world. That's going to take a bit more time. But we're now equal 5 in the rankings for T20 with South Africa. So we've got progress there. ODI cricket hasn't been that good. But as I said, my eyes see everything you're seeing. But it just, as I said, be patient. I know you don't have it, but it only takes time that we've got to get better. And I think a good way to judge a team is if we're having 6 or 7 players playing franchise cricket around the world. That means we've got players who are performing at a higher level. We've had Haley, but now Chanel Henry's just got in there. And obviously Deandra's back with the team. Steph's done a bit, but her body's sort of let her down, so she's missing those franchise opportunities. But if you look at the South African team, the Australian team, they've got 15 players playing franchise cricket around the world. And our CPL, we've got 3 teams with 4 overseas players. It doesn't allow a lot of our youngsters to have a big input into those games. So I'd love to have more CPL teams. 3 is definitely not enough. That will give that's our league, our franchise cricket. We can have a big say in and give those girls opportunities, and they perform well there. They might get picked up for another franchise league somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So that's something we've got to. I think this women's CPL is a real important thing that we've got to use as a learning tool and give the girls that exposure at a higher level.
Because I know a player.
The regional cricket's not going to work at the moment.
I know a player who has been in the women's CPL for 2 years and has never got onto the field.
Yeah. Well, you're 4 overseas. They're going to do most of the batting and bowling.
Exactly.
I go there. So I go to watch to scout for players, etc. I'm seeing international players doing everything most of the time, which is disappointing.
Shane, we are not asking you to create a number 1 team. If you do, that's icing on the cake.
I want to.
I don't care about your methodology. What I want is result and see incremental improvement in that team. Okay. And I'll be watching especially someone like Reliana Grimman to see her improvement. I'll definitely be watching all that. Thank you very much, Shane. Shane, a matter of fact, I enjoyed this, and I guess at the end of the next series or before the next series, we'll invite you on either to do a summary or a preview, one of the two, but definitely somewhere around the next West Indies Women's Series, we'll have you back, Shane. Thank you very much for being here, sir.
Thank you very much. Loved it, and I'm still here in the job. I haven't got sacked yet, so
no, there's a stay of execution. There's a stay of execution. No, there's a stay of execution. Thank you, sir.
From the guillotine, he took your neck off.
Yeah.
All the best.
All the best.
That's it.
All right.
Basil, West Indies men team, and I know this is where a lot of person focuses on.
Yes.
We are now 7-love down against Australia, having lost the 3 test matches and have lost the 4 T20 match. In fact, we are now, I think we are 11-0 down, 10-love down from the last 10 home games we played because we lost those
The
3
to Bangladesh.
against Bangladesh.
Yes.
And then now the 3 test matches and the 4 T20 against Australia.
And then
Therefore, we are 10-love. We are under 10-love.
And then
Yeah.
we lost 6 in England.
Yeah, but there was a break. We beat Ireland. So let's keep it at home.
For our purposes, we can't count Ireland. All do you know what I mean? If those who are talking about us improving as a team moving up, Ireland is not a team that we're gonna look at to say that this is the team that we beat Ireland. You know, we're expected to beat Ireland, the Englands and etc. We got to beat when they're full strength.
So Basil, you are saying then that we are really under 16-love because you don't count the Ireland tour and come
exactly.
So all right.
And then losing to Ireland was an abomination.
Yeah, because we lost 1 match to Ireland by
the ODI, yeah.
So the question that a number of persons are asking, and yesterday I did a poll, and we're going to come to the players rating shortly for the fourth T20 International. Yesterday I did a poll, Basil.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, because I think that was about the 5th poll that I was doing on Sammy in or out.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, the majority of persons that voted, over 100, I think the last time I checked it was 110, 71% of those persons are saying Sammy out. And that was the very first time that ever happened. But I believe that if Sammy should go, the president of Cricket West Indies, who also ignore the interview process, the result of the interview process, Ramani Sarwan spoke about it at length.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only a case that Sammy should go, but the president should go, and the president who unpick the director of cricket.
Mm-hmm.
So all 3 should all go. Don't you think so?
I agree with that totally. Sammy didn't pick himself, right? And the director of cricket in promoting Sammy to red ball coach, that decision alone, he should be gone.
Yes. So yes. What are your thoughts, Basil? I don't know if you. Yes, I think we have discussed it already. But why do you think, Basil, are we in this predicament? Because in the past, at least, we would have won one of those matches. Why is it, Basil? Why have we sunk so low?
Look, I think it's a combination of things. Sammy came in with this whole thing about we're going to be data-driven and looking at what the best teams in the world do vis-a us and so on. I would argue is not to simply look at what the best teams in the world are doing. It is what our players' capabilities are and how could we match up against Team A, Team B, Team C in terms of our skill sets, how we're going to be able to beat them. Not to, because our players, just like, for example, the discussion we just had in terms of our players' inability to play sweep shots, right? Now, you're going to look at a team like England or Australia or South Africa or India, where players are expert at playing those kind of shots and the ramp shots and all of those various things that our players are not as good as. And to say, then just arbitrarily look at the data, what they're doing, and try to extrapolate that to us to improve. I think that was a wrong place to go. And as we were talking earlier about looking at coaches in other sports and so on, I'll use an example. the great Bill Belichick, the coach of New England. Every game New England played in the NFL, they were not the same team in terms of how they approach. It was based on who they were playing and how they would match up against, how they would do things to match up based on their player skill sets to team X, team Y, and so on. So it was always hard to get a pulse on New England because they didn't have all those tendencies that you could say, all right, we're going to take away all of this because this is what they always like to do. Because they were like a chameleon. They were able to adjust and change and stretch and so on based on the opponents. And to me, that is the way you want to go if you're going to be a successful team.
Basil, can any coach improve this West Indies team?
Let me say this. One of the primary things you would have to implement to be able to improve these teams is high caliber assistant coaches, right? High caliber. That's one. Also, you will have to have high caliber development coaches within the context of the setup, because we know our players come to the international level with skills that are lacking that they should be having at that level. So you have to have those people around the setup to assist. So we, like what you were saying earlier, we could see those incremental improvements. And the same thing, those kind of development coaches also have to be in all the various territories, because that's where our territorial players are, and that's where those players return home. So when they go back home, they have the type of resource that would help them to continue developing the skills that they are lacking. So when we see them the next time, we see an improved player. We see that all the time around the world. We see a player today, and then when we see that player 6 months later, we're like, oh, Lord, that's the same man we saw 6 months ago. We don't say that about West Indian players.
Okay. Basil, on Friday night, we noticed that from the TV images that we saw, almost every time we saw the head coach, he was down on the field, panting around, appears to be issuing instructions. One of the times that I saw he was saying something to Ravman Powell, and just reading Ravman Powell body language, I think Ravman Powell was saying, go and sit down, man. I'm not saying that's what he said, but just reading.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
We noticed that Friday night when he was prancing around the field, for want of a better term, the team shoulder droop and their heads bow, and we never saw that involvement of Sheop, like Sheop was waiting to hear what he's saying. One of the times I was even wondering if he was communicating with Sheop via some wireless device. Last night now, every time we saw him, he was sitting in the dressing room or on the balcony there. And the team gave a much more spirited performance, except for one or two players. Something must have been wrong with Rutherford. I said what I thought is wrong. But don't you think that the coach is becoming too involved in the run of play?
Yeah, look, I have said this. This is not, I'm repeating myself. In my view, Sammy needs to take a step back. Nobody comes to the park to see Sammy. They come to the park to see the players. Let the players be in the forefront. Let the players be the stars of the show. Sammy, sometimes it seems like he forgot that he's no longer the captain of the team. He's the coach of the team. Stay in the background. Let the players be in the forefront. And we have to let these players. We have to let these players make their mistakes without you every minute jumping in to tell them they must do this or do that. How are they going to learn? How are they going to be able to resolve situations when they catch themselves in? They have to be, they can't always be dependent on coach. They have to be self-reliant. That is one of the things as a coach you want to do, because when that player walks into the middle, you can't hold the bat or you can't bowl the ball for them or catch the ball or field the ball. You have to make sure you make the players self-reliant so they're able to execute whatever plans y'all have.
Yes, and Mr. LaRoque, I want to say to you that you will know you can't prove a negative. Persons don't prove a negative. So what I want you to tell us is what Darren Sammy is doing good. You know, you understand?
Yes.
Academia will tell you, Mr. LaRoque, that you can't prove a negative. Can't. You just can't prove a negative. You prove a positive. So please tell us what Sammy is doing good, and then we will test what you say with our cross-examination of
Correct.
what you say that is doing good. But we don't, you can't prove a negative. You know, there's no way you can prove a negative.
No.
So you cannot ask a question asking someone to prove a negative. No, it can't. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Andre Holmes is saying that the team gives up on Sammy. That means Sammy have lost the dressing room. Basil, do you think that there's a rift in the West Indies dressing room? From information I have heard,
okay,
and no one told me this, but I'm trying to piece things together.
Yeah,
and I said it yesterday. Persons were not happy that the captaincy was taken away from Rovman Powell. Persons were not also happy that Sheo was awarded the ODI Player of the Year ahead of Shafin Rutherford, who was shortlisted by the ICC.
Exactly.
And those two things are seeing different cliques in the West Indies dressing room, and Sammy may have just lost that dressing room, according in conjunction with what Andre Holmes is saying.
Look, Powell got dismissed from the captaincy, and obviously listening to Powell himself talk, there was differences because Sammy about this data driven, and Powell said at times you have to go by instinct and what you've seen in the game as a captain, and that went contrary to the way Sammy wants to do things, right? Powell was relieved. We get a new cap, and then Powell was on a losing streak. There was a lot of games under him. I think it was the last 10. They had lost 8 of the last 10 or something like that. And you change the captain, and you've lost seven games straight. Again, taking out the Ireland, you've lost 3 to England and now 4 to what I would call an Australian A team. By no means this is Australia's full strength T20 team, right? And you change captain. So who is the common denominator?
Yes. Yes, Basil. The thing about Sammy relieving Powell of the captaincy, those numbers speak against Powell. 8 loss from 10 games. And while some would say that he should not have relieved him, and others would say, yes, he should have gone. Whichever side you came down on, I think the bigger issues were what Sammy said when Obe was appointed.
Yeah, I think so too.
If he had said those things about Shea Hope, then it means then the opposite. Rovman Powell was not doing them. And I think that was a bigger issue.
Yes.
He should have found a way to say positive things about Sheo without making look negative and Rovman Powell. And so it may not be the result that Powell was getting, which incidentally, Sam himself was getting those results. So if you remove the captain, why then the coach has not been removed? Because if you look at the broader picture, up to that time, taking the South African tour into consideration, Rovman Powell's record as a T20 captain was better than Darren Sammy's record as a T20 coach. Why remove the captain and the coach was not removed? And also, why did you need to make that loaded statement when you appoint Shea Hope? What's your views?
Look, it's the same thing that Miles Bascom made regarding taking Sammy to send to be red ball coach, and the things he said why he went with Sammy would seem to want to try to intimate that Kohli was not prepared and Kohli did not have plans and so on to develop the test team and so on and so forth. Is the same type of language you heard there too. That I listened to when he would give the rationale for bringing Sammy as the red ball coach, and I would say, wait a minute, now making Kohli sound like a joke of a coach, and then to hear an actual player from Kohli's team talk about the great preparation they were always prepared for in the 3 series that he played under Kohli. He said the team was always prepared. The only time they got a surprise was in Pakistan because, for obvious reasons, that was a pitch that had a special preparation that even the Pakistan players were surprised at the spin and so on. But he said we were always prepared. So that goes contrary to what the director of cricket. So I still would love to understand from the director of cricket, really and truly, what are these plans and so on that Sammy was doing that Kohli was not doing?
Thank you very much, Basil. Please slash a like on the video, click on that subscribe button. We are only at 33 likes and we are taking your comments, and it's, you know, please show some appreciation so that we can reach up to 50 likes so that we can take more of your comments. But right now we are going to do the player ratings live. Basil and I are going to do the player ratings live. I will go first and then Basil will give his ratings later. So let's see with the player ratings from last night. So here we are. We are going to do this player rating and try and go through it as quickly as possible. So as you know, we do the player rating out of 10. Brandon King, last night he made 18 from 10 delivery, a strike rate of 183, fours, 1-6. You know, anything under 30, I cannot give a man average for anything under 30. And
I agree.
For me, Brandon King is 1. Basil, what's your score?
I would give him a 2.
You'll give him a 2.
Yes, I remember it's 2 out of 10. 1 or 2, you still feel it badly.
Okay. So Basil, you have the form. You don't have the form, so you can only say. But I'm giving him.
I will just every time you rate, I will give mine following you. That's all.
Yeah. What happened? It won't calculate. But nonetheless, I'll appreciate your feedback.
Okay.
So for Shea Hope, was 10 from 9 deliveries, a strike rate of 111. There's no way I can give Shea Hope more than 1. 1 for Shea Hope.
Yeah, same thing, 1.
Yes. And Rastan Chase got a ducks, and if a man got a ducks, you have to give him a 1. You just cannot give him
I would give him a 0.
No. All right. So 4 in 4th position. Number 4 is Shafin Rutherford. He made 31 in T20 cricket. 31 is considered like 15 regular matches.
Mm-hmm.
And he made it at a good strike rate of 206. So the strike rate is good. 31 is, you'd say, average performance, so that he will get a 6. But when you look at that catch that he dropped, which was a straightforward catch,
yes.
There was another ball that bounced away from him and go over the rope for 4. There was another ball that he came around, he misfielded, and he never turned around quickly enough to pick it up, although they only got 2, but he should have moved faster to it. So, yes, I'll give him 6 for his performance with the bat, which was average. But when I look at what he did in the field, I have to give him 4.
I give him a 5 because of what he did with the bat, but the things that you described. Because who knows, that catch that he dropped, and that was the main man. Who knows how the game could have tilted and swayed he had held that catch, you know. So I given him a 5.
Okay, thank you. Ravman Powell, 28 from 22 deliveries, below the threshold of 30. Strike rate, 28 from 22 deliveries at what? 128 strike rate. And in the field, I can't point out anything at this time that he did bad, but 28 at a strike rate of 128 is not average. I'm giving him a 4.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the 4.
Yeah, you agree with the 4?
Yes.
Shimran Etmaya, as usual, struggling to bat 10 deliveries. 16 from 16 deliveries. 16 from 6 deliveries, sorry. 1-4-2-6. Lovely strike rate, but again, it's only 16. Can't give him more than a 4.
Yeah, I too, because that was a position that he has flourished most in recent times in T20 that he was put in. And, you know, but the situation was where he came in very early.
Yes.
And that's where, you know, you put a red mark on him, because that was a time where he had to consolidate and be more tight in his game awareness, because there was a lot of batting to go. It was not to could keep going. And I have to ask this question, because it seems to me the message from the day we want to play, they want to just keep blasting away. But if you just simply keep blasting away and wickets falling, you're putting yourself in a precarious position. So there has to be some kind of balance. Instead of looking to clear the boundaries, sometimes you got to think hitting the ball for 4. So at least you're lessening the risk and you stay to fight another day.
Thank you, Basil. Romario Shepherd batted at 7. He scored 28 from 18 deliveries, hitting 4 fours and 1 6. He bowled his 4 overs for 59 runs, 1 wicket. That's 14.75 runs and over. Batting at number 7, 28. You know, a strike rate of above 200. 28 from how many deliveries? If 18 deliveries, that's a strike rate. No, 18 deliveries is about 160.
155.
155. Okay, thank you. So Romario Shepherd is, for me, 4.
I agree with that too, because the bowling really you give away that you make the runs and then you give away all those runs, right? You give away double the runs you made, right? So yeah.
So for me, when a player bats at 8, 9, 10, and 11, I judge them first off what they do with the ball, and then if they did something with the bat now, it will complement their rating, because 4, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are really your best bowlers, should be your wicket-taking bowlers. Anything they contribute with the bat is supplementary, and you can give them a mark or 2, depending on what they did with the bat. Because if they make ducks with the bat, it shouldn't affect their ratings if they did well with the ball, because they are batting at 8, go down. However, if they make some runs, it can supplement it. So Jason Holder, 4 overs, 1 for 38. I don't think that was bad bowling by Jason Holder. And when he batted, he scored 26 from 16 deliveries. So 4 overs, 1 for 38, just under 10, and his score. I'd want to give Jason Holder 6. I think that's an average performance.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you.
Wow,
how do I have good occasion?
I would say too.
It's 4th. It's 4th to be there. So it's just a mistake. Yeah, man.
I was gonna say with Holder also, that last over that he bowled, I think he did a pretty decent job, you know, to keep the game in hand, you know, because they could have very well finished the game in that over that it went to the last over, you know, so he did a good job there.
Yes. So 9 is match of 4. Forget the typing error.
Okay.
It's just a typing error. So 9 match of 4. Again, you judge him off his bowling first. 4 overs going for over 10 runs and over. So that is poor. When you start going for over 10 runs per over, that is poor. Do you take the small ground at St. Kitts into consideration? Yes, but it's still more than 10 runs per over. When he batted, he gave us some lusty blow, 15 from 7 deliveries. And for me, that topped him up to 5, but I don't think it was an average performance going for more than 10 runs per over. What you say, Basil?
I give him a 4.
Okay. Akeal Hussain, and I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. Akeal Hussain, one of the disagreement I'm hearing between Rovman Powell and the coach Darren Sammy is the usage of Akeal Hussain. Rovman Powell believes that Akeal Hussain needs to bowl his 4 overs up front. Darren Sammy look at the data, look at the algorithm bot, and see the economy of Akeal Hussain and said, with this economy, Hussain need to be bowling right through the innings. A over here, a over there, and a over here, and so on, right through the innings. While Powell never agree with that. He thinks he needs to bowl up front. You can determine whether his usage in this current situation is the right usage or those 4 overs up front are the right. So he bowled 3.2 overs. He was asked to bowl the last over last night. I can understand why it gets there. However, it should not have gotten there. 3 overs, 3.2 overs for 36 runs, going at 10.8 runs per over. When he batted, he scored 16 from 10 deliveries. Once you go over 10, Basil, there's no way I can give you more than 4.
I agree.
Okay.
And you know something about Akeal Hussain, I'm also watching, particularly in this series, it seems to me, you remember he used to surprise teams with that in-swinger. You seam-up ball he bowls, not the regular arm ball, but this one swings like a medium pace. So because he bowled it seam-up, it seems to me he's no longer surprising people. And the teams have caught up to him because I've seen Akeal Hussain get some hits that we have not seen in recent times. Even in Jamaica, where the ground was a lot bigger, he got some lusty blows. The Australians really put it on to him.
But Basil, aren't we a bit harsh? Because if you look in Jamaica, his first 3 overs went for 17 runs, In the first match in St. Kitts, Friday night, his first 3 overs went for 19 runs. And so you will look at the overall number and say that he disappeared. But it is always that over that he's bowling down in the happy hour that is disappearing. And so the theory that he should bowl up front maybe is the right theory, because look back at the numbers. Second match in Jamaica, I don't remember the first one out of my head right now, but the second match in Jamaica, his first 3 overs went for 15. In the first match in St. Kitts, his first 3 overs went for 19.
Okay.
So that is something that we need to pay attention to.
And what you're saying there, because thank you for the clarification of those stats. What you're saying there, but before he should be bowling out before 15 overs are completed. So you're not exposing him to the onslaught, because at the end of the day, whether you look at the figures, or this economy rate that it automatically extrapolates. Bowling in the depth is a whole different skill set than bowling in the power play, and which he has shown that he has adapted very well to bowling in the power play.
Thank you very much. Basil Jediah Blades, 3 for 29 from 4 overs. He made 3 runs from 7 delivery, but he's batting number 11 Even if he makes a ducks, it should contribute to his overall performance. You probably want a little more from in the field yesterday, but 3 for 29, man, you can't give him less than an 8. For me, 8 every time.
I give him a 7. I give him a 7. I think the young man has stepped. He did a way better job than he did in his previous matches. So let's hope this is not a one-off, that he could continue in this vein to improve. Yes.
We definitely hope that it is not a one-off. Definitely hope. Last night for me, Shea Hope, he really got the team to fight to the end. He looks far more comfortable when the coach was not on the ground. So I'm going to give him an average 6.
Yeah. I think too, but I would say one of the things where, in terms of his handling of the bowling, to me, was somewhat dubious, because it should never come down to where we got Akil Hussein having to bowl the last over. So maybe he would argue that, look, I had to fire all my best bullets earlier, but maybe you could have bowled Akil Hussein earlier in before the 15th over, that you could have had the other guys who are more adept to bowling at the death to be bowling in those last 5 overs.
Yes. Akil Hussein is one of your very best bowlers if he's bowling those 4 overs within the first 10. Those are my views. When Shea Hope was afraid to use Akil Hussein, the Akil Hussein that we know from over 1 to 8, Basil, if you could get that Akil Hussein bowling that same way in the death, Shea Hope would not have been afraid to use him.
No way.
No way would he be. But Shea Hope knows that that's not the same Akil Hussein in the death.
That's not his strength. That's not his strength.
That's not his strength. His strength is up front with the new ball. So I'm giving Shea Hope a 6. I really think that he managed the resources last night well, and the team fight to the 20th over, which is good. And I'm giving Darren Sammy an average 6. And I'm giving him a 6 because he stood his ground last night. He stayed in the pavilion, and the team fight to the end. So he must have an input in that. He's the coach. The performance of the team. It was a close game last night. We made fewer runs than what we made in the previous match, and yet still we were able to take it to the final over. So the coach must be given credit. So I'm going to give him an average 6.
Yes.
Yeah. So you agree with that, Basil?
I give him a 5.
You'll give him a 5
because at times.
So that's why I wish. That's why I wish, Basil, that you would have done your form and submit it, and it would have given. It would have given it. Go ahead.
I saw him and the batting coach, the two of them moping. The two of them. You saw the shots of the two of them moping, sit down next to each other, moping.
Yeah. I saw those.
As the wickets were tumbling for us, because remember we lost a lot of wickets because Mr. Shepherd was batting. If memory serves me correct, he came into bat. It was about 11 or 12 over. He was batting, which is highly unusual for Shepherd. Shepherd usually comes into bat. You got about 18 balls left or something like that. So he had a whole long thing to bat there yesterday, and you saw the two of them moving. So, yeah.
Okay.
He had to restrain himself from running on the field. You know something, Carlton? I would just add. I heard this was told, because you remember you see coaches, not head coaches, assistant coaches from other teams periodically would walk around the boundary line and whisper something to a bowler or something like that. Especially when we bowling, right? It would usually be bowling coaches, just to remind them of certain things and so on, just to and I often, a question was asked to, I think it was the chairman and selector at the time. How come we don't see West Indian assistant coaches doing similar? and he was told that the players said they don't like coaches coming around on the boundary talking to them. But that went out the window with Mr. Sammy coming into there.
Yeah, but Basil, I don't think that a player has the right to say that to a coach, though, you know.
I agree. I couldn't believe that.
And if a West Indies player or players said that, he should not be on the team.
I agree.
I personally believe that we always talk about player power, and I want to come to your comment. I really want to take your comment because I love to interact with you, but you are fully aware that we need at least 50 likes on the show, and we are not there as yet. So, but I'm going to say, Basil, there's too much player power in West Indies cricket. There's no way a player should have been able to say that and still remain in the team.
And this was a consensus of the players. It wasn't a player, it was a consensus of the West Indies team. They told the coaches, we don't want you walking around, come telling us, giving us instructions. And in my view, I thought that was nonsense, because there will be details you may have forgotten about a specific player that coach should come and remind you, because, you know, now these days it is feed these players with a whole lot of information. And for you to remember every detail, you know, and if a coach could just remind you, here, remember this guy, Bob. So you want to make certain adjustments in the field, angles, and so on and so forth, ball deliveries in these certain areas to display that you may have forgotten, right? And it's just that reminder. So I found that to be very strange when I heard that.
If I was the coach, and I'm sure that if someone like Justin Langer, and I'm glad that Sammy kicked that out the window. If I was the coach and the players say to me collectively, I'd probably turn my back and count to 20 to make sure that I'm very calm. And then I'll say to them, I am going to do it. And if you're not in agreement with me, we will book your flight home now. As simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm going to go further and said, when I give you some drills to do, and when I come out there and remind you to do something, if in my opinion, I don't think you were trying to do it, because I'm not here saying that you have to nail it. But if I tell you, say that you need to bowl a Yorker to Basil Butcher, and I saw you bang 5 ball in the pitch straight, you're on the next plane home a morning. It's as simple as that for me, you know, Basil.
Yes.
Players don't get fired, you know. Coach gets fired.
Correct.
And if I am coaching a team and the players are not doing what I'm telling them to do, they are compromising my job. And I'm not going to let anyone compromise my job, because we are all passing through a revolving door.
Correct.
And I'm not going to make you push me through that door.
Correct.
You know, so that's how I see things, Basil. Now, Basil, we're gonna go ahead, sir.
I just wanted to say I was glad that you said what regarding Zeta James. So, because I was going to say it, so I just had to agree that you should be on the side. But
yeah,
all due respect to Shane, that rationale for keeping her in the side, it not adding up. Give somebody else a shot if you're not fulfilling your duties. To the bench.
Yes. So we're going to do the overall player rating now, what everybody average, and then I come to Athena. I said micromanagement could be a problem, and I agree with that, Athena. I do not believe in micromanagement, and that's why I said that before the match, the coach strategies are discussed. Innings break, strategies are discussed and reminder given. Drinks break, some reminders can be given then. But if a player is not really doing what you ask the player to do, I do not have an issue reminding the player. So I do not really see it as micromanagement, because I agree with you, Athena, that micromanagement is dangerous. So I agree with you there. So definitely. Yes, Basil, respond.
Yeah, what I was going to say, look, I learned some valuable lessons on that front. You had a team meeting the night before, and you discussed the upcoming game. What are the things we got to do better? What are the things we got to focus on doing well to win this game, and so on and so forth. And the next day, the guys went out and did contrary to what we discussed. So from that experience, what I did, I wrote down the bullet points. So in the morning, I would just the bullet points of what. So it's along the same lines. Yeah, because guys are not gonna always remember all the details and so on. So you gotta gently remind them and so on and so forth. Because there's a lot of things they got in their mind that sometimes they may forget a detail here or there.
Yeah. Sheldon Smith is saying that we do not have any death bowlers, and Andre Holmes is saying that he's agreeing that Hussein should bowl up front, and he also believes that Shepherd should bowl up front. I do not agree with that Shepherd should really bowl up front, all his overs up front, because Shepherd over the years, we are working on Shepherd to be one of our death bowlers. So that is not going to happen, but he agrees that Hussein should bowl his 4 overs up front. I disagree that Shepherd should bowl all 4 overs up front. And Sheldon is saying that we don't have any death bowlers. How do you react to those?
Yeah, I agree. But I'll say this. 2 things I want to say on that. Ravi Rampal was a very competent bowler at all different parts of the game. He could bowl up front, in the middle, and come back and bowl in the death. He was competent. So let's see how Ravi Rampal, as a bowling coach, would be able to enhance that clear weakness we have had for years since the retirement of Dwayne Bravo. Our death bowling have fallen off a cliff, right? And second thing on that point is, why is it Dwayne Bravo is no longer contracted by CWI to work with our bowlers, even from a regional level? Because what would be included in that would be some of the international players when they're playing in regional cricket. As you remember, several years ago, when they had the regional tournament in Antigua, Bravo was seconded to work. He was doing a roving thing. So one day he would be with Team A, next day he would be with Team B, and so on. So he was imparting his knowledge on that. And I know, I have heard that him and Sammy don't see eye to eye. So I don't expect him to be in the West.
Yeah, but I was just going to make that point, but you asked the question and you answered. So Kirk Amude here said, and I'm reading his comment and then I'll react to it. Justin Langer as coach of the West Indies team and Glenn McGrath bowling coach. No more Caribbean coaches, no more bias speaking of their fellow countrymen. If you are not performing, you go your way. Well, let me say this. I believe in the best of class coach. The best of class, the very best. No matter where you are from. I'm a fan of Justin Langer. Not because he's not from the Caribbean. I'm a fan of Caribbean coaches. I'm a fan of Ryan Griffiths. I'm a fan of Andre Coley. I think those 2 are good coaches. But I would not consider them to be best in class. But to say that we are not picking any Caribbean coaches because they are from the Caribbean, I don't think that we should be saying that. I think we should be looking the best coaches, doesn't matter where they're from.
Yeah.
Basil?
Yeah, and I would say this to that person. I don't think Cricket West Indies could afford a Justin Langer. The kind of money that he is going to demand. We don't have that kind of money. That's one of the reasons why we don't get the top tier guys, the Gary Kirstens, the Jay Langers, and so on and so forth. They don't even apply for the West Indies job because what they're going to ask for, we can't pay. That is a reality.
But Basil, that
because
I could get them and pay them what they want, Basil.
Okay, because that is one of the reasons why Carl Hooper is no longer an assistant coach.
Yes, well, Basil, if I want Justin Langer, and I'm the president of Cricket West Indies, I'm telling you, I'll find the money to pay Justin Long.
Well,
Steve,
I'm not arguing with you on that, but that is what I have been told. Why West Indies are not able to get the top tier guys, because they say they just can't afford to pay them.
Yeah, as Stephen Roach is saying that, why is Sammy talking to the team during the match and so on? So let me say this just to put it simple. Every coach has to do things their way, because you cannot do it the way of another person and then fail doing it the way of another person. You have to do it your way. So you succeed doing it your way, or you fail doing it your way. And then at the end of the day, you said, I have done it my way. I have given it my best shot. It's as simple as that, right, Basil?
Yeah, you gotta be your authentic you, right? You
Yeah.
can't be a fake phony fraud. You gotta be who you are, and and look, one of the just like players, coaches have to do self-assessment, self-reflection all the time, because if something doesn't work, you need to self-reflect and say, well, what could I have done better to help my team to win, right? And that has to be an ongoing process.
Okay, thank you very much, Basil. So here we are now to the overall response of the community. We would have expect more. So what we do, Basil, is that we take the highest score. So here is the highest score. Here is 3. So it's one. Most persons voted for that. Most persons give Brandon King 1. So Brandon King's score ratings was 1. Shea Hope equal 1 and 2, so you give him 1.5. So Shea Hope was 1.5. Yeah. Rastan Chase 1, which we are all in agreement with. Shafane Rutherford 3. I think 3 it's majority of
really hard. They probably were remembering what he did the night before.
3. Ravman Powell 3. I don't have I think I gave him 4, but I don't have an issue with majority of persons giving him 3.
Yeah.
And overall, I think today's rating is the most consistent one I've seen so far. So this is good. And this is good. I hope more persons would have done it. And Shimron Etmire, they gave him 3. Surprise, surprise. But again, 3 for Etmire. Yesterday, Athena said that we should scrap the ratings, but because some persons were just not really watching the cricket and voting accordingly, but was voting according to country and who they like.
Yeah, sentiments.
Sentiments. But we have to persist with it and try to see if we can get some uniformity.
Because you're gonna, over a period of time, you're gonna get to realize, you'll get to see how knowledgeable your audience is. Yeah,
Right.
Because so, like yesterday, you remember the lady with the short hair and the short pants. She was she was angry at
I'm taking steps to get her on the show, so I hopefully I will be able to get her on the show.
Yeah, I think that sometimes she was being a real fanatic, because some of those balls, there was no way the player could have gotten to it, but that's it.
So Romario Shepherd 3.5. So for Jason Older, I'm going to say so. Wow, so
they got him up to 5.
Yes, let's say 5 for Jason Older. Yes, no doubt 1 for Matthew Ford. It should have been Matthew Ford. Apologize for Good Akeshimo being there. I'll make the adjustment when we are finished. So persons who are going to do the rating afterwards. There are some persons who look at the ratings that we are doing to determine their ratings. But I'm just hoping that they will have more confidence in themselves.
We want to have the hear see how knowledgeable the audience.
Yes. So Akil was saying that a 2. Jedediah Blades get us a 8. So more persons said 8 more than any other thing. So Jedi Blades get a 8. That I think that's fair. And why would so this is the first one that I'm seeing now, Basil, that is out of touch. Persons were given a young man who get 3 for 29 in 4 overs. 3 and 4. That is really out of touch, and probably
those are what we call extremely hard graders, man.
Yes, and that is why we use the principle of going with the score that is the highest.
Right.
You know, yeah, because I think that probably these persons they never watch the game. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they don't know where Jedi Blades is from, because probably if they know the country that he's from, you would have gotten a different grade.
You get a score accordingly.
you would probably get a score of 10.
Yes.
And thirdly, they just look at the name Jedi Blades and say that he can't be good. But the man's performance was outstanding last night. For Sheop, interestingly, I am the only one who gave him 6. So overall, he got a 2 because, you know, so overall, he got a 2. And for Darren Sammy, he got a 1. Once again, I am the only person who gave Darren Sammy 6. So that's the overall player ratings. Basil Butcher, what do you think about it?
I think we saw some hard graders, and we saw some people who we had a consensus with. So yeah, the audience is some in some aspects are showing their knowledge is getting better as we go along.
Yes. Andre Holmes said, we had a saying growing up in Guyana: bend a tree when it is young. Bringing coaches to fix old, hard back players is going to be difficult. But Andre Holmes, this is something that I've spoke a lot about. We have seen, first thing, we have seen numerous players at the international level evolve their game after 30 years old. Numerous. There's a long list of players who change techniques. Well, when I say change techniques, I mean
make adjustments to
their techniques.
Yes.
And evolve their game into playing shots that they never used to play before. So that theory is out the window. The second thing about it, I always believe that it is harder to coach a youngster at 16, 17. He may be more disciplined and listen to what you're saying more. But when you reach 25, 22, 23 going up, that's the time when your personal esteem should kick in and say, I'm not getting this right. So even without a coach there to help you, you at that age now should realize and take the personal responsibilities and reach out to coaches to help you. Basil, what's your thought on it? So I don't agree with what Andrew is saying.
The old saying we used to say, what he talking about there, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, just from a neuroscience perspective, that has been debunked, because the brain is plastic. The brain can learn anything at any age, anytime, once it gets that stimulation. So that's out. Second thing, the best players in any sport are always improving, because that's why they're the best players. They never feel they have arrived. So they're always adding to their game. And, there's a Japanese term, we call it kaizen, where it's incremental improvements. That's what the term is translated loosely into English. So the great players are always doing that all the time. It is those guys who feel they arrive are the ones that never become the great players. So I don't agree with that at all. And so we have to because if you're a player and your goal is to be the best in the world, would mean that you're always working on your game. You're constantly working on your game to improve. You have never arrived. You're always, and when you get to the elite level, it is harder staying at that level than the journey to get to that level. So the work has to always continue.
Basil, as a coach, do you ask your players how they plan to approach their innings and you and them work it out and come to a consensus? Or do you leave it up to the players?
I think it's a discussion the discussion is between you and the player. The player is leading the discussion because it's the player that has to execute. You are there as a sounding board and maybe to give some inputs and so on, to remind the player of certain things or to and so on. Because at the end of the day, that player has to be able to know their skill sets, their strengths and weaknesses, and understand that, look, when I face bowler X, this is the options I got because of my skill set and so on. And then things you could remind them or accentuate or let them, give them more clarity on the options that they would have and so on. It has to be a co-creative process, but most led by the player, because at the end of the day, it's the player that got to walk out there. Because, for example, as a coach, I can't tell a player to play spin. We're talking about playing a certain spinner, and I telling him about sweeping and reverse sweeping, and he's not good at it. You think he's going to go out there and do it? No, right?
No, but isn't the responsibility of the coach now, knowing that he's going to play a spinner that he needs to sweep, isn't now the responsibility of the coach to get him sweeping in the nets?
Well, look, if he's not a good sweeper, right, he's not going to master that by the match time.
Okay, so you say to him, how are you going to play the spinner? Exactly. And you work on that in the nets. I got you.
Because we got to look at his strengths. If he's good at using his feet, for example, maybe that's an option. If he's good at using the crease, the depth of the crease and so on, those things. So we got to work on what he's
good at. Man. Yes. Athena is asking, should players investigate their agents before they sign?
Sign where?
If they are signing a contract with an agent to manage them, should they investigate the company before they sign with that agent or so on?
Yes, you must. That is the responsibility. You cannot put your career in the hands of no individual unless you do your due diligence.
Yeah. Yes. I want to thank you very much, Andre Holmes. I just said that if you ask someone to go into ask someone, say, get me a bottle of water out of the fridge. You know the person is going to open the fridge to get the water. So I understand your comment here, but it's basically that we all know that when you have because it's something that I preach all the while. I preach it here all the while that the number one challenge that West Indies batsmen face is that they do not do the basic. They do not master the basic. That's number one problem. So we know that, Andrew.
Yeah, because essentially what that thing about the young tree is, it is true. At the younger you are, your brain is more a sponge to learn way more. That's why a child, not to say adult can't do it, but a child could learn 7, 8 languages because of the way that is it. But adults could learn those kind of. I know a guy like that that's multilingual, and he start learning all those languages way into his 30s, right? So so we can't. That theory is not.
Basil, it's simple, When you're young, I agree. It's easier for you to consume the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're willing to implement it.
Correct.
When you get older, let's use the word more mature,
mm-hmm.
you may consume the knowledge slower. But because of your maturity and because you now become more responsible and more aware, you are now more eager to implement the knowledge that you are earning and to actualize it.
I would say you have more discipline. Generally, you have more discipline than when you're older than when you're younger because of your experience in life.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Basil. It was a wonderful day. It's a long show today. And again, we want to thank Shane Deitz for coming on. He's very brave. He's very brave, I have invited Darren Summit to be here. He was not here. Hopefully, again, next week, we'll have another surprise guest for you. This has been The Takedown. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Bye for now.